Dave the Garden Guy. He's live at Summer Winds Nursery. Although, Dave, that means actually working, not just standing around in the garden.
Oh, it does, huh? Well, you know what? You happen to be an expert at that. But for me, I'm definitely doing some gardening. Scotty, take a look at up here. This is what we call a yellow bird of paradise. And this is something that you see so often out in the desert Southwest. Victor, go over and show them what the problem is. And that is over pruning. In fact, folks, put your pruners away this time of year, but you can see the sunburn damage that's caused on this tree. Because if you look directly behind Victor over here, that's due west. Folks, that sun is blasting this trunk. So what you want to do, no pruning on a lot of your plant material, because invariably you end up with something like this, and then you end up with possibly the demise of the tree itself. Some other things, you want to make sure that you're showing, or what we show is the root flare of the trunk. You can see the root flare right down there. Not very much showing, so that's another symptom of a tree that possibly could get sick later on. And of course, when you're watering, making sure you're watering at the drip line of the tree. Victor, go on up. This tree has a canopy type shape to it. So it likes to be watered just like the rainwater would fall onto it. So the rainwater will fall on the outside of the canopy. All your emitters, all your different types of irrigation needs happen on the outside of this tree. We're at Summer Winds Nursery today. They have got a ton of different types of plant material. Some other ones I want to show you that are really easy to look at, and you can tell how plants like to be watered, is this calantio. And you can see this calantio right here, and if you look at the leaf structure of the plant, you can see if the water's falling on it, it's falling again on the outside of the plant, unlike the aloe right next to it, where the water goes right towards the middle part of the plant. So when you're looking at your plant material, it's going to tell you or give you a clue as to how it needs to be watered. Another one I want to show you, and this is one that's really prone to a lot of spider mites, but you see them quite often. This is our Italian cypress. You can see that guy right there looking up and down, and it's very important that you wash this guy off occasionally because of the fact that it attracts a lot of spider mites like we talked about. So making sure you're watering deeply and infrequently is real important. The other thing we're seeing a lot of is UV damage. UV damage is symptomatic because if you look at the leaf, you'll see the leaf actually burning out from the middle of the leaf to the outside. So what you want to do, if you see that on a lot of your plant material, just cover it with a little bit of UV block and you're in real good shape. So Scotty, when we get back, we got to talk about fertilization, because fertilization is so important out here in the desert Southwest. And by fertilizing with the right kind of fertilizers, you can reduce your water needs by about 40 to 50%. And you're on your way towards a nice, what we call summertime garden. Scotty, I think Olivia's with you too, isn't he?
Oh yeah,
is
she's
she there?
sitting right here. You betcha she is.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Olivia. How are you doing, hon?
I like seeing you work out.
That's
Good
right.
Yeah, he's usually just
Dave,
laying
oh,
Oh,
around.
you do? You like that, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so
'Cause
buff.
it's rare.
Oh, thanks
by
a
the
lot,
way,
Scott. Look at
I haven't
this
seen him in the
physique,
gym
dude.
in a while.
Yeah.
I used to bump into Dave at the gym
No, you
sometimes.
won't. I switched gyms.
Yeah, I bet you did.
excuse
You went from
us.
the gym to the non-gym.
Gym to the couch. I got it. Thanks,
Hey,
Dave.
gardening counts.
Okay. So Dave the Garden Guy live this morning to tell us all about that. And Dave, I'm sorry to say a lot of my flowers are starting to die.
You will see them starting to die. You're going to have to probably change those up to summertime flowers, because those petunias, geraniums, are going to stress a little bit. Another thing that's going to stress, using the wrong kind of fertilization. Now let's first talk about where you want to fertilize on plant material. Going up to our yellow, basically bird of paradise right there. You can see right at the drip line of the tree is where it's going to be required. So that's right at the edge of the canopy. What type of fertilizer? You want to go as organic as possible. They've proven and through a lot of studies, by going organic with the chicken manures or the regular standard manures or even the worm castings, save as much as 40 to 50% on your watering bill. Why? You're slowing down the growth, and that fast growth that you see so often with synthetic type fertilizers stimulates a lot of moisture use. So it slows down the growth, slows down the amount of transpiration in a lot of the plant material. We are at Summer Winds right north of Tatum and Bell, and you can see they've got a whole potpourri of different types of plant material out here. All works out great. Some other types of fertilization you may want to think about specific to the plant material. If you look at gardenias, they like a lot of shade out here in the desert Southwest, as does a lot of things. But one thing gardenias like, and a lot of other different types of plants, is just regular coffee grounds. In fact, the lower that pH, the better off a lot of this plant material does. And believe it or not, it is organic. You're going to see some grapes out there. They're going to start stressing too. keep in mind, if they are, fertilization with some type of magnesium or manganese, and of course a little bit of nitrogen will prevent those white flies from getting on them. If you have white flies, they make a sticky trap that actually attracts them. But these Thompson seedless and these Ruby seedless all do very well out here in the desert Southwest. If you got a fig tree like this, now this is one of my favorite, and you can see it right here. This is our mission fig. You can see the figs are just starting to produce. They are an indeterminate type of tree. They produce fruit on an ongoing basis, but they like just a little bit of manure occasionally. Some of your deodorized manure works out real good out here in the desert Southwest. And of course, for a high nitrogen fertilizer, use something like a blood meal or something on all your citrus. And we've talked about it before. These young citrus trees need some type of protection from our hot weather out here. If you don't give it, they're going to end up with sunburn, similar to what we were looking at earlier. Right up above us, you can see our queen palms right there, and you see those big yellow fronds up there? That's typical of a lot of our palm trees out here, especially queens. They require a certain amount of manganese, and manganese is real important, specific to queen palms. And you can see the spats on there, and the spats are just the seed pods. You can see this on a lot of palm trees. Palm trees are one of the few things we trim out here during our hot weather during the summertime. Everything else, we try to keep those pruners away. So stay away from the pruning. Go ahead and do regular fertilization. Make sure you're deeply watering and you're on your way towards a nice, what we call healthy summertime gardening. One last thing, Scott, I get a lot of emails on the Italian cypress. You can see these on a lot of our junipers. Why are they looking so dusty? Well, that's called spider mites, and by utilizing what we call liquid seaweed right here and spraying them down, or just washing them down with regular water, and you keep those guys nice and healthy, like I said, for these hot, upcoming summertime temperatures. Scotty, you know, I know April's going fishing out there. Are you going to join her?
I know you're jealous, aren't you? When's the last time you went fishing?
Oh, I am, man. I could be bass fishing right now with my fly rod up there in Michigan right now, catching those big 4 or 5 pounders, and I'd be on my way to heaven.
I've never met a bigger fisherman than
buddy.
you, that's for sure.
I tell you, I'm addicted.
I know.
Thanks,
I'm
Scott.
surprised you don't have a fishing pole in your hand and you got that shovel.
No, I got one in my truck.
Okay.
I'm going to try to hit something on the way up.
Okay, sounds good, Dave. We'll catch you later. See you on the golf course.